not even a few hours after I post a video to YouTube, which by the way comes out at 4 and will be linked in the description box of this video here, Tucker Carlson all of a sudden out of the middle of nowhere shows up on Twitter in his own studio in his own home, which by the way, yeah, like I said in that video there, he does his show out of Florida, so therefore the Fox News station, I guess it actually belongs to him.
People there are in this country, kind and decent people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid.
Guys, that right there was only a snippet of the video. Don't worry, I'll be playing the full 2 minutes and 16 seconds right here shortly. But in that video today, I discussed the reasons why it was that I felt that Tucker was fired. And of course, I completely 100% wholeheartedly stand by that he was covering topics that were a little bit too risque. And obviously, Fox News, with all the lawsuits coming down here in the near future, probably wanted to get him off the payroll, even though he, of course, is not a defendant in any of those lawsuits. And, of course, I discussed exactly what happened in 2020 in that video, how it was that he actually never entertained the things that the establishment does not want to talk about. But I also talked about Dan Bongino and I talked about Bill O'Reilly. Well, there are a couple of things that I actually missed, and we're going to be discussing that in this video here. But I need to go ahead and say this really quick. If Tucker Carlson, let's just say that him being released, and of course Tucker Carlson is under contract by Fox News through 2024, and of course he signed an NDA, I want you guys to think about something really quick. With Elon Musk owning Twitter, is it possible that Tucker Carlson could possibly post his own show really for free, just giving his thoughts, his opinions, just his 15-minute monologue segments on Twitter? I mean, think about it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Matt Walsh, when he got demonetized from YouTube, the first thing that he said that he was going to do was he was going to post to Twitter. So you mean to tell me that you could probably get the Matt Walsh show not only on Twitter, but also at the same time on Rumble? Next thing you know, Twitter becomes really, really, really powerful, especially with Elon Musk running it. Me, of course, I would hope that Elon Musk would, in fact, potentially buy YouTube. But this right here could be an extremely powerful avenue, as I will explain in this video. But before I do that, let's go ahead and roll the full 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.
It's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize... Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
Now, really quick before we go any further, don't get your hopes up on him exposing anything. He is under a not he's under an NDA over the course of 2024, so don't get your hopes up on that. But then again, though, at the same time, though, as I mentioned in that video from earlier today, Tucker's got a lot of money, so maybe he doesn't really and truly care. But like I said before, don't get your hopes up on him exposing anything until possibly after 2024 when he is freely released from that contract. So don't get your hopes on that just yet. Now, gang, I want you to think about something really quick. Tucker Carlson was actually he was the subject of a conversation on MSNBC the other day. Of course, I'll link it in the description box. I ain't got time to listen to these two cackling hens, Miss Circleback Jan Psaki and Alexandria Horseface Ocasio-Cortez. I can't exactly discuss that right now because, quite frankly, it just racks my brain to hear these two talk. But I want you to think about this really quick. If Tucker Carlson goes on Twitter and does his nightly monologue, which would only take him about maybe 15 minutes to do because, well, he's been working in television media for a while, so it's probably like second nature to him. If he records it after reading the news, going through a news story, could you guys think for just 1 second exactly how powerful he could be on that platform where he actually gets a bigger audience? I mean, just think about that, because obviously a lot of people have been saying boycott Fox News for the past few days, especially since Tucker's firing. Tucker Carlson can be more powerful than he ever has been, and I do discuss in that video earlier that I posted earlier today at 4 o'clock that Tucker more than likely would never go to the Daily Wire. More than likely due to the fact that, as we found out during the Crowder ordeal, the Daily Wire has these provisions in their contract, which of course state that they will punish you if you get punished by big tech. I don't see Tucker over the next year doing that, but still at the same time, he could build himself one hell of an audience. And I also alluded to the possibility with the money that Tucker Carlson already has that Tucker could possibly mount a presidential run in 2028. However, I did say that the true America First candidate in 2028, given the fact that this guy right here is slow walking his announcement.
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes. I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
Could in fact be very viable for that mantle. The reason why I'm saying 2028 is because I'm pretty sure we all know who the hell the nominee is going to be in 2024, and it won't be this guy here.
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
So here's the deal. We got to go through this because obviously Tucker's going to be more powerful, especially over the next year, seeing how he more than likely won't be getting paid a lot of money. But still at the same time, though, he builds a brand for when he does eventually go to like YouTube or possibly Rumble or whatnot. Like I said before, I seriously would hope that Elon at some point in time would consider getting YouTube. Somebody mentioned that he should buy Fox News. I don't think that buying Fox News would be that effective. But there is one more thing that we need to discuss. You see, Mark Dice was talking about this morning. I'll be leaving the video in the description box about how it was that he tuned into Newsmax and he saw that Newsmax was talking about more and more risque topics. Well, this right here kind of reminds me of something, because Newsmax was recently pulled from a few distributing cable companies. Of course, this right being satellite companies for whatever reason, because obviously, someone like Newsmax, they're going to try to phase out. Newsmax, of course, in 2020, I felt was just simply leeching off of Fox News' jilted viewers. However, Newsmax, as I showed you in the video I posted earlier today, is actually covering some stories that Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC will not cover. Also, to go on top of this, if you go to Al Jazeera and you go online to other networks, like say, I think it's like WANN, it's the networks, of course, that are out overseas, they're covering a lot of topics that Fox News will not cover, as well as also Sky News Australia. So it makes you wonder if the foreign press is actually doing a better job than the U.S. press at this moment in time. Still, though, while we're on the topic of Newsmax, we need to bring this up. You see, I missed something in that video. I mentioned that it started with Bill O'Reilly. And, of course, it eventually would trickle down to Dan Bongino, which, by the way, Fox News has claimed that the reason why they did not keep Dan Bongino is because it was a contract dispute, even though I personally think the real reason why they did that was to kind of signal that nobody is safe. Bongino, of course, covered topics that nobody else wanted to talk about. I'm talking about 6-1. Remember, I got to invert the numbers. He talked about 2020. He talked about stuff like that. And, of course, he probably got fired or probably got axed due to that nice contract. Thinking to myself, it's very possible that maybe they might have lowballed Dan Bongino on a contract saying very, very limited appearances, so therefore his money will be limited, because oftentimes in these contracts, there's something besides your base salary. Oftentimes you get television appearance money and obviously ratings money off the time slot. Of course, Tucker Carlson also had this ad thing too, so that right there probably, yeah, it was a lot of it was about money potentially in the future, not to mention the topics as well, because right now we're dealing with this thing called state-run media, state-run propaganda. That's definitely where we're headed at. However, with the advent of Twitter and the advent of having someone like Elon Musk owning Twitter, it's very, very possible that we could actually break through this, especially given the fact that conservatives are, in fact, using sites like Rumble to get around the algorithm, if you guys are kind of picking up on my drift. Here's the thing. Did it really and truly start, though, with Bill O'Reilly? Now, as I mentioned in that video before, I know I haven't really talked about Bill in this video. It looks like I'm going a little bit off topic, but trust me, it makes a lot of sense. Bill O'Reilly was let go because there were a lot of sexual harassment claims on him, and there were a lot of cases that were settled out of court. Basically settled behind closed doors. Yeah, we'll let you go. We'll pay you this much amount of money. Just go ahead and get on out here. Basically, at the end of the day, Roger Ailes would eventually find himself gone. Of course, Rupert Murdoch, with now Paul Ryan, are basically running Fox News. And ever since then, the brand itself, they have not exactly been, how do I say, what Fox News was. They don't go after the guy like this. They don't go after this guy right here anymore. They don't mention him anymore. They certainly skirt certain guests. But now that I really and truly think about it, who was the first real personality at Fox News that I personally liked that was actually very good, very articulate, and extremely effective at messaging? Who was the first person that Fox News got rid of? That would actually be Eric Bolling. Eric Bolling, for all of his faults, was extremely effective at getting messaging out. Now, I can already hear somebody saying Eric Bolling is one of the most overrated people out there, but let's be honest. Eric Bolling was extremely effective. Right after Trump won in 2016, many people felt that part of the reason why was that Eric Bolling was extremely effective at messaging on the 5. And, of course, they even tinkered with another show with Eric Bolling there. Bolling, of course, was pretty much no nonsense, good old-fashioned, straight-up conservative, was very articulate. And also, to go on top of also being very articulate, he was also extremely relatable, especially when it comes to city voters. So, yes, I think it really started with Eric Bolling. So, obviously, this issue started a long time ago. But I need also not mention this right here. BuzzFeed News. BuzzFeed News recently got shut down. They recently shut themselves down. BuzzFeed News used Facebook as an avenue to get their message out there. Now, of course, BuzzFeed, this is the channel that used to give you the recipes, and it was mostly cooking. Of course, when they came up with BuzzFeed News, they all of a sudden went completely woke, and after a while, people just stopped subscribing. Now you've also got Nate Silver. He is also being let go from ABC, 538. The reason why Nate Silver is being let go is because Nate Silver continues to get election predictions wrong one after the other. So obviously something is up with the polling, like I've always said. Is it possible that we may see a shift here in the future? That Tucker Carlson being fired may have been the signal. And of course, Tucker Carlson would even put this thing out saying that the war is just now starting, which I personally think it's been going on for a while. It's just now beginning to get really hot. The thing is this here. This right here, to me, signals a brand new way of fighting. It signals to me that other people are going to find more and more avenues to do this. Of course, this right here being fighting back against state media. When you've got a guy who's more of a moderate, and trust me, Elon Musk is no conservative, but when you got a guy who's pro-free speech and a moderate running the platform at Twitter, and of course if Tucker Carlson is there, and of course if Newsmax picks up, not to mention OANN, and not to mention also to go on top of this, maybe like Real America Voice News, which is where Steve Bannon is, you could see one hell of a contingent to stop the state-run media operation. Which, by the way, CNN, of course, they had some people that were a little bit more moderate, kind of sort of buy them out recently. Of course, that right there includes Liberty Media's founder. I'm not really going to get too much into that there, John Malone, but still at the same time, you got to wonder if Don Lemon being fired was also not a part of the operation. Then again, though, Don Lemon's ratings were absolutely horrible. Fact of the matter is that you were finding out right now, and you were seeing at this moment in time, that people are in fact beginning to start fighting, the fight back against the state media operation. They're starting to actually officially fight back against the corruption. And of course, Tucker Carlson has his new avenue, like I said, Twitter, for the next year and a half, where he hasn't got to get paid because Tucker Carlson is well off when it comes to overall money. Not to mention the Heritage Foundation, anybody and everybody is going to pay him boatloads of money to do speeches. It's very, very possible that maybe Fox News may have actually made him stronger than what they did before, what he was before. It's also very possible that all these Newsmax personalities, they may get stronger in time as well. This also includes Dick Morris, who was let go after the 2012 presidential election because Fox News addressed him as an absolute kook when they didn't seem to realize that they had an extremely weak candidate on their hand in 2012 that they pushed. that person being Mitt Romney. Makes you wonder if Fox News isn't about to get a major comeuppance. Makes you wonder if mainstream media as a whole is not about to get a mainstream comeuppance. Now, guys, I know this video right here has been somewhat of a rant, but I just figured I'd go ahead and just throw some additional thoughts out there. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video stuff in the comment section. This video right here will be the third video released of the day. On Friday, I plan on releasing two. One, of course, is about ESPN and the fact that they now have an extremely low morale. Also, this cops versus criminals debate, on the issue of cops being able to carry guns. That video will be out tomorrow as well. And the is gun control racist, or does gun control have a racist past? That video will be out on Saturday, so make sure you guys stick around. Once again, John Claymore here, guys. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Only about 30% of you guys that watch the content subscribe, so make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We're close to 1,000 subscribers. Also, leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.